Then complete Snowflake course I will be covering, and along with that, I'll be giving wherever we come across any use cases, I'll be giving the real-time business use cases in our examples. And end of the session, I'll be going to give, I'll take one use case, I mean to say one kind of a project. I'll show end to end from starting to ending, that a complete implementation. Then if you people are needed any inputs on the resume preparation and interview tips, I'll be available for those inputs as well. So quite at high level, these are the components are, I mean to say content wise, these are the concepts we are going to cover throughout this training program. So our major focus is covering the complete Snowflake, but along with this, these all additional points also will be going to cover as part of this training program. So now coming to Snowflake. So if you are talking about any particular product, or for example, if you want to purchase any mobile, any online platform, so generally what we will do, so we'll go and we'll see that product is worthwhile for our money or not, and also we'll see what is the customer rating for that particular product, and also we'll see that product we are getting kind of an optimization, I mean to say less cost. So these are the major factors we'll see, right? So similarly, if you see the Snowflake product in the market, so these are the ratings customers has provided about the Snowflake. So in terms of adoption, in terms of usage, in terms of value for money. So all the people are, it's a kind of a, they're giving a highly satisfaction rating. So the people whoever is using this Snowflake in the market, they're quite happy and they're giving a very good rating about this product. So now when we are looking to learn something, and if that product is a kind of a leader in the market, then we no need to worry about our opportunities with respect to that our career, right? So if all the organizations are ready to adopt this technology and they're quite happy with that, and they're building their all data warehouses around this product, then definitely we no need to worry about the opportunities in this particular Snowflake space, right? So if you see like these are stats, okay, so I'm not going to dig very deep level, and I'm not going to make it a very boring session. It's just a kind of a giving a flavor of facts about the particular product, whatever you're talking a Snowflake. So if you know that particular product, how it is going in the market, then it will be good for us to take it up, right? Then without knowing anything, if you are learning something, so if tomorrow if somebody is coming to us and asking like what is the how the product is doing in the market, then it might be a kind of a question mark for us, right? So in order to just make a clear about that, so if you see here in this particular slide, so everybody and all the people or all the organizations, I mean to say customers, whoever is using this particular Snowflake, they're highly satisfied with this product and they're giving a good rating for that. And also we know, right, like if any startup was started, so they'll come to that Sensex and the market and all, right? So how they're doing in that Sensex also, right? That is another aspect. So now if you see here, there is a customer ROI, they have given almost 600 plus returns for their investments for this particular Snowflake product. So you can go to the snowflake.com and you can get a lot of more information about this. So I'm not going to make it a very kind of a theoretical or a boring stats and all, because I'm not a kind of a Snowflake sales representative, but I just want to give a overview about this particular product. Okay. And if you see in the last slide, so when we are talking about like what is our career opportunities if you are learning or if you are exploring the Snowflake space, so currently as of now, if you take 100%, so there are 65% people are using as a data warehouse this particular Snowflake product in the market. So most of the organizations, they're utilizing this Snowflake as a data warehouse, and 14% of people are there using a data lake, and 7% people are there using a data engineering, and 14% of people again they're using as a implementing their data applications. So now majorly by seeing this, you can see there are a lot of opportunities in a data warehouse space. Of course, when you're talking about data engineering, it will be cover all these aspects. So we'll discuss more detailed level about these all areas like when it comes to picture. Okay, Thank you. And please stop me if you are feeling like if you are not able to follow, or if you feel like I'm going too much fast, just stop me. I'll come back to that point and we'll discuss it. So along with this, like I have bring it another couple of facts, because see, I can say simply without having anything, I can talk too many things about the Snowflake, okay, but I don't want to give up only statements without facts, okay. So now if you look at here in this particular slide, so you know, right, like if you are purchasing any particular product or any particular item, we'll see the brand value of the product also, right? Always if they have good brand value, the cost will be good, and the lifetime will be also will be good, right? We'll follow that brand value, right? So for example, if you take a gold, so we'll go with a hallmark or 22 carats or 916, something like that, right? Similarly, in Snowflake also, especially in IT industry, so there is a team called Gartner team. So these people, like always, they will do the evaluation of any new product is coming to the market, and they will categorize this particular product into different categories, like leaders in the market, or challenges in the market, or they're doing nice in the market, or they're still they have a feature growth, there's still a kind of a good business in a feature. So like that, they'll majorly categorize this. Any new product is coming to feature, they'll just interact with the business clients, and they'll take their feedback, and they will categorize that product based on their rating into these 4 categories. So now if you look at here, the Snowflake is from last 3 years, it's consecutively it's coming to the latest board, which means the Snowflake is currently leading the board. This is one of the fact from this Gartner. And also the people who are using this product, they're giving up feedback is there 93 people are recommended for others. So now out of Fortune 500 companies, they almost 250 companies, they are already using the Snowflake, remaining all are there in the queue. I'm talking about for Fortune 500, okay. Apart from that, there are so many for startup companies already migrated into Snowflake, and they're using the Snowflake already. Now in this slide also, you can see few more facts. So I'm not talking throughout the session about facts, but I just want to give a brief overview about these facts. So like how the Snowflake is processing the queries, how much data they're handling currently. So these stats also is a little bit old ones where I have taken. So it was introduced in 2012, but it was publicly available in the market was in 2014. And 2015 onwards, it started gaining attention from the people. But apart from this, they have a very good revenue, they have very good customers, there are so many blah blah things are there. Apart from that, if you see, when we are coming to as a developer, so how many queries are processing for a day, how many kind of a very big table or single table, how much number of records or how much number of tables are processing in the Snowflake, they have given stats. These all are not very basic, not a basic very numbers, right? This is very highly, I would say, very big numbers in terms of when we are handling with a very huge volume of data. So now these all are kind of a facts about the Snowflake. So now we know how the Snowflake is there in the market, how it's doing, how the Snowflake is handling this particular in terms of data volumes and all. Okay, but apart from that, so as we discussed earlier, the Snowflake is a data. I'm saying is a modern data warehouse, or it is a cloud data warehouse. So first of all, what is mean by data warehouse? So if we know the data warehouse fundamentals, it will be easy for you to work in the Snowflake area, because the Snowflake also is a replica of data warehouse, but it was completely built in the cloud, not in a on-prem. So we'll see what is the difference between on-prem and cloud, and how the difference, how the what are the advantages are coming in the through cloud data warehouse, where the Snowflake is coming to picture exactly. We'll see all the details. So before that, as I mentioned, we'll see like what is data warehouse. So in a very simple terms, data warehouse is nothing but a collection of databases. So what is mean by database? So database is nothing but a collection of information or collection of data where we'll store for future reference and along with their relationships. So if we have some data and if you want to store the data in a particular place, it's a meaningfully, that place we called as a database. So if you are collecting these many databases information and we are putting into a central repository, that area we called as a data warehouse. So basically the database is like a, we can store the day-to-day transactional data. Now coming to data warehouse, it is mainly recommended for analytics purpose, because in databases we cannot store the huge volume of data and you cannot analyze the data in using a databases, because the databases is recommended for day-to-day transactional data. For example, if you take any kind of a supermarket, say either More or DMart and all, so they have number of branches, right? So in each branch you can assume as a, they'll maintain database, and end of the day all this database information, or end of the week all these databases information they'll bring into the data warehouse. There they will do the evaluation of this, there how the business going on, like how many products got sold out, how much investment they put, so what is the profit for that, so how basically the business trend is going on. If they want to do this analysis, it is not possible to do that analysis by going to that particular branch and by analyzing that particular products and summarizing the data and all. It's not possible. There are couple of many challenges are there. So ideally what people will do, they'll bring this all database information into in a particular data warehouse. There they will do the analytics. So the analytics is most important thing for any business, because how the business is doing, what they're getting from outcome from that business, without these analytics they can't to know. Not only analytics, if they want to predict that business trend, how it's going to be in a coming 2 months or coming 3 months, how the business, how the customer trend is going on, what are the customers sentiments. So if you go to that particular Amazon or Flipkart, if you browse some items, immediately the similar items will come into down, right? How they're showing, because based on our customer browsing history and customer sentiments and all, right? So if you want to do such kind of analytics, definitely you need a data warehouse. I'll take a pause here just a minute. Anybody has any queries about the data warehouse? Okay, thank you. So now we know at least basic idea about database and data warehouse. So now what is the how the data warehouse evaluation was happened? So evaluation in the sense, so initially in the olden days, data initially they started with the databases to store this data. So first of all, in a very basic, they used to store this data in the ledgers, registers, in a paper, right? Later they have introduced to store this data in databases. So those databases we called as a RDBMS databases, relational database management system. Okay, so in that RDBMS systems is like Oracle, SQL Server, MySQL and all. So we used to store this data in the form of tables. So basically we'll store this particular data into that particular table. So for example, if you take employee information, so or if you take a product information, we'll store that product information is like a product name, product ID, when the product got sold out, what is the cost. So these all details will be stored in that particular table. So whenever we want, you can query the data and you can see the data from the table. Okay, so later certain point in time, so people are facing challenges with the huge volume of data, because as I mentioned, databases, it's like recommended for store the day-to-day transactions, not recommended to hold that entire year-wise data and all. So there the actually people are facing challenges, because day by day the data is growing on. So if the data volume is growing, then the people are facing so many difficulties to fetch the data. They're taking so much time, and it's like when they're looking for that particular data, it is a kind of a time taking process. So then the people started to look at other options. That's where these data warehouses coming to picture. So they thought like anyways the databases is not recommended for analytics purpose, so let's go with the data warehouses. Then they come up with the data warehouses. So here I mean on-prem or legacy, these all words, it's a common. Okay, these all belongs to non-cloud. Okay, now coming to cloud is a different. So these whatever we are talking about, these RDBMS, these data warehouses, all kind of a legacy, or I mean to say on-prem data warehouses, which means physically they have to maintain these data servers, data centers, and they have to maintain the security, and they have to take care about this security patch upgrades and all. Everything will be taken care by that particular organization by putting so much manpower and putting so much money. So they have come up with these data warehouses, legacy data warehouses. So earlier, whatever the problems they are facing, those few problems got addressed when they're handling with the huge volume of data with these data warehouses. Okay, after a certain period of time, when they're coming to picture with the unstructured data or semi-structured data. So structured means if you are sending particular data with a comma separated or with some special character separated values, it will be good. But if you are coming to unstructured data and all, it's like images, videos and all. So it is a quite became challenge for them with the existing data warehouses, because those all are traditional data warehouses. Those will support mostly structured data, and also if the data volume is too much, then still in the data warehouses also people are facing many challenges. That's where coming to this Hadoop era. So what are the problems they're facing with the particular data processing in the data warehouses? So there are a couple of problems are there, right? When you are handling with a very huge data, terabyte data, petabyte data, your data warehouse response time is less, and people are, whoever is looking for real-time analysis and all, so they're quite facing challenges with the traditional data warehouses. That's where coming to this Hadoop era. So Hadoop era, it has a unique functionality like a highly distributed file system, and it will work as a based on map reducing algorithm. So these two functionalities will address what are the problems, few of the problems facing in the traditional data warehouses. That's where people are migrated from these all product based organizations and all. They have migrated from these particular traditional data warehouses to Hadoop, because Hadoop has advantages. Then now the problem with the Hadoop is the maintenance of Hadoop cluster and all. It is a quite challenging for them, because in our in the market, in outside our technology, so many evaluations are happening. Everything will be became digital now. So now everything became nothing but a data. So the data volume is, it's increasing super fastly, and that Hadoop, even though it has a good functionalities, still there are couple of challenges are there in terms of maintaining data servers, in terms of maintaining storages and all. People are facing problems. That's where the cloud coming to picture. So that's where they said, you don't need to worry about, like, you don't need to maintain any servers, you don't need to maintain any storage, everything in on-prem or traditional data warehouses. So we are there. We'll provide everything, whatever you need. You just pay whatever you are using our services. That's where this cloud coming to picture. So in the market, there are more than 10 plus clouds are there, but out of these, there are top three clouds are available in the market, which are leading in now currently. Those are AWS, another one is Microsoft Azure, another one is GCP, Google Cloud Platform. So these are the top three cloud platforms. Okay, so they're providing all kind of services, storage service they're providing, compute service they're providing, network security, everything they're providing. Only pay as you go, like whatever you are paying for monthly basis, you have to pay for them. You can take a subscription, like how we are taking a Prime subscription. Similarly, you can take a subscription from them, and they will provide whatever the services they want. They will provide all the services, and you have to pay for them. So that makes more comfortable. That makes all developers, all organizations life more easy. So that's where the people are started migrating from on-prem to cloud. On-prem in the sense Hadoop or traditional data warehouses, whatever is there, everything slowly organizations all are started migrating from on-prem to cloud. So in the cloud now, already these are all established clouds, and they have all sort of services they have. Okay, since we are talking about data warehouse, so AWS, they have their own data warehouse, Redshift. Now coming to Azure, they have their own data warehouse, which is called as a Synopsys, and Google, they have their own data warehouse, BigQuery. So currently these all cloud, they're providing these data warehouse services for the organizations. Okay, but again here there is a kind of a lack for the business people. So this Redshift, Azure, BigQuery, they have their own capabilities. Okay, so now there are many legacy systems are depend on this particular RDBMS or Oracle databases and all. So many developers are familiar with this SQL and all. Okay, but now coming to Redshift, Azure, BigQuery, so they'll support this SQL, but not completely. There are few functionalities they'll support in a SQL space, and also especially these three cloud platforms, they have their own capabilities, but where the business is looking all capabilities in a single platform is not available in a these three services. For example, if I take a Redshift, so Redshift, it has its own capabilities compared to Azure. A Redshift will do in a good in a few places, and few areas Azure will do good job. In a few areas Google Cloud, BigQuery also will do good job. But if you are looking all areas, if you are looking at very one single platform where it's doing a good job and it is a more comfortable or quite compatible with the SQL, that's where the ideal option became Snowflake for the all organizations. So that's where the organizations are choosing the Snowflake. Not only this, so what are those areas, what are those features, what are those functionalities Snowflake is providing compared to these three, we'll talk more about when we are talking about the Snowflake very detailed level. So that's where all the organizations, all the people are looking Snowflake as a cloud data warehouse for their business. So that's how this data warehouse evaluation happened. That's how the Snowflake is currently leading in the market, is a kind of a sitting in a top position compared to all other three cloud platforms. I'm not saying all other three cloud platforms not doing good job, but they have their own limitations compared to Snowflake. What are those exactly? We'll see. In which area the Snowflake is taking an upper hand, we'll see in upcoming sessions. So is it clear, or anybody has any queries?
We are good.
Okay. Cool. So now we are talking about, like we have seen the evaluation of these data warehouses. So where the cloud is coming to picture. So now if you take a one step back, so when we are talking about challenges with the traditional data warehouses, so there are many problems are there. So they have to maintain manpower, they have to maintain upfront investment, they have to maintain so many things. Okay, but apart from that, I have picked up four major drawbacks, which are I mean to say challenges which are facing in a traditional or legacy data warehouses. Those are I have listed out here. So we'll talk about more with this when we are talking about Snowflake introduction and what are the features are providing. But high level, I'll just cover here. So as a developer, if you are looking or if you are implementing something in your particular project, so these are the common challenges you will face it. One is a limited concurrency. So what is mean by concurrency? So the concurrency is nothing but a, if you are trying to access the same resource at the same time more than one user, we call as a concurrency. So of course the Oracle and all, it will support concurrency, but still there is a limitation with that concurrency when we are coming to traditional data warehouse. So for example, if you take a data warehouse, so I'll cover more in when we are discussing about data warehouse. So we'll dig into little bit deep level and we'll see. Here I'll just giving a high level overview because it will take more time if you are going a little bit deep level. Since it is a demo, I don't want to kind of completely full of theory and I don't want to put it in my head. So I'll just give a brief overview about these features. Later we'll see exactly what is the limitation where it's coming to picture. Then coming to full elasticity. So which means, for example, if you take our laptop or if you take our any mobile and all, so when we are purchasing this particular product, we'll see RAM and storage, right? So if both are balanced, then it will be good with respect to our response time in the particular system or particular application, right? If both are not balanced, then definitely it will be challenge for us, because if we have a so too much storage like a TBs of data, and if you have a CPU power is very less, then it will be difficult for you to process the data, right? Because that CPU power is limited and you cannot process it. Okay, so for example, if you take an example of the people who are working in currently in any project, they might somewhere come across this. So you have a similar example, take it like a More or a DMart and all. So every end of the day you have defined one particular job, so that job, it will pick up that whatever the data is there in that particular database, and it will send the data into the particular data warehouse destination. Okay, so you have defined a particular job. The job will run 15 minutes and it will process that job capacities. If the data is 1 GB data, then it will pick up that particular data from that all the tables from the database, and it will put it in a single file, and it will send that file to the particular data warehouse space. So from there you are going to process the data and you are going to do the data analysis. On top of that, you are going to use this Power BI or any tools, and you will build the dashboards and all. That is a different concept that we'll see end-to-end workflow later. But for suppose due to some Diwali or Dasara, due to some season is going on, so the customers increased and the data became increased. Instead of 1 GB data, that data became 2 GB now. But your job capacity is 15 minutes, and within the 15 minutes, that job can process it only 1 GB of the data. But suddenly, due to some season, this data volume got increased. So now what happened? That 15-minute job, it became a 30 minutes, because just assume now my data is became 2 GB. So now if I want to process the 2 GB data, the job whatever is defined 15 minutes, it's not possible. It will take again another additional 15 minutes. So if you are taking that 15 minutes additionally, then the downstream jobs, definitely it will impact. So now in the current system, or I mean to say in existing traditional data warehouse, so you cannot handle such kind of scenarios. Okay, so that is another drawback. So if you are something looking for some customization thing, for example, if the data volume is increased and you need to increase your CPU power and you need to process the data within the timeline, it's not possible in the traditional data warehouse. That is mean poor elasticity and restricted availability, which means, for example, in the data warehouse, you will be storing the data in a different areas we called as a data mart. So if that particular financial department is belongs to that financial team, only the financial department can access that particular data. If other sales department also wants the data, it is not possible in traditional data warehouse. Not possible in the sense, so it depends on the business requirement. For example, if financial department is giving an instruction, hey, I don't want to touch anybody this data because we have a critical reports and all. So if other people are using this data, they're doing some DML operations and all, it is blocking our work. So I don't want to touch this data. Can you please make it this data ideally for us alone? So you did that. Okay, tomorrow again another team comes and they will say, hey, can you please make it this data separately for us? So if you are going on like that after a certain period of time, so the data will be having a multiple data backups, and you are not sure about which one is the latest one, and it is not possible to access the data for everybody. It is a kind of a restriction we are putting on top of that. So that is another major challenge in current traditional data warehouse. Now coming to data security. So still people are hearing to like there is some patch upgrade is going on. So there is some version upgrade is going on. So during weekend, during month end and all, people used to do support, and that application will go down and they will upgrade this, and then again they used to send lot of follow-up emails and all. So still whatever the legacy systems are there, they're following old security methods, and you have to keep on upgrade yourself to align with the new upgrades. So these are the common or top challenges we are facing with the traditional data warehouse. But we are coming to Snowflake. So the Snowflake is a single platform where the Snowflake is addressing all these problems. So there is no limited concurrency. They're providing unlimited concurrency with the concept of virtual warehouse. We'll see what is that virtual warehouse, how it will work, and poor elasticity. So as I mentioned, in the Snowflake, the storage and compute power both are decoupled. There is no dependency on each other. So irrespective of storage, you can increase your compute power. Irrespective of your compute power, you can increase your storage. That's how the Snowflake is designed from scratch onwards. So that is the unique advantage in the Snowflake compared to other data warehouses. So with this functionality, the Snowflake is going to address this elasticity. So which means the Snowflake, it has a intelligence. It can handle this unexpected workloads on the fly. And also the Snowflake has a single platform where you are going to store the data. You are not going to putting any restrictions on data, and without having any impact, you can access the data from that particular single platform. We'll see how it is. Also, the Snowflake is coming as a with industry leading security certificates. So like there are certain certifications, PCI, SOC, these all are kind of a international level security standards. If any product is compliant with these certificates, which means that particular product has a strong, robust security. So that in that space, the Snowflake is a very good security features they're maintaining. So you don't need to worry about downtime. You don't need to worry about upgrades and all. Everything will be taken care by Snowflake. In fact, you don't know when they have done these upgrades and all. Weekly, until the Snowflake is going to send a note to the business. So without any application impact and all, without any downtime, the Snowflake is doing this security upgrades. So that's why the Snowflake is addressing the what are the problems are there in the traditional data warehouse. Is it clear, or anybody has any queries? Is it clear about now what is the data warehouse, how the data warehouse evaluation is going on, where the Snowflake is coming to picture, and how the Snowflake is addressing what are the problems are there in the traditional data warehouse? Is it clear? Is it all in sync? Now we'll see what is a Snowflake. So now, as I mentioned, so there are so many definitions are there because the Snowflake is not in a single. So it can act as a database, it can act as a data warehouse, it can act as a data lake and all. But I make it in a very simple. The Snowflake is a modern data warehouse built for the cloud. So it is only built for cloud. So without cloud, Snowflake won't run. They have recently introduced a concept called Unistore. So they're going to support about OLTP databases as well. But as of now in the market, the Snowflake is working as a, it is recommended as a cloud data warehouse. So now it is coming with a lot of features. So we'll talk about those all features very detailed level. So I'll be giving a brief overview here. So it is a cloud-based data warehouse, and it is completely as a SaaS solution, which means software as a solution. So now basically what is mean by software as a solution? So in the cloud, all the cloud platforms, they can provide services in a three ways. One is a platform as a service, another one is infrastructure as a service, another one is a software as a service. So what is mean by software as a service? So you don't need to worry about any installation, any software installation, any hardware installation, nothing. They'll just give one link to you, just like our Gmail. So if you want to access your Gmail, you don't need to worry about, you don't need to install any software and all. You just have internet access. Wherever you go, you can access your Gmail, right? Similarly, the Snowflake is coming as a completely software as a solution. So if you are taking any particular subscription for that particular Snowflake edition, they just provide one URL. You just use that URL and use your credentials like a password and username and password, and you can log in into that web URL and you can do whatever you want. You can do your development, you can do your deployment, everything in the cloud only. You don't need to worry about our like any hardware specifications or software specifications and all in order to use this particular Snowflake plus. But please remember, this will work for only cloud, not in a on-prem. Also, pay per use model. So whatever you are using, the storage and compute, you have to pay for that. If you are not using anything, you don't need to pay for that. Also, it supports, as I mentioned, it supports completely our SQL, and it supports ODBC and JDBC connectors. So why we need these ODBC, JDBC connectors? We'll see when we are discussing about Snowflake ecosystem. I'll explain there why we need this, because as I mentioned earlier, the Snowflake, they're providing one web URL. We are going to that particular web URL link and you are going to access the Snowflake data and all. For suppose you don't want to log in web URL every time, and if you want to access that Snowflake database data by using some tool like our SQL developer or some DB or any particular tool, if you want to establish this connection, definitely we need these connectors, third-party connectors. Or if you have a Python interface, from that Python interface, if you want to connect the Snowflake and if you want to read the data, then definitely you need this particular Python connector, right? So the Snowflake is providing all these JDBC, ODBC third-party connectors. So whichever platform or whichever interface you are using, you just install that connector and you can connect to the Snowflake and you can access the data. And also the Snowflake is coming with the auto scalable and elastic virtual warehouse. So as I mentioned, so the Snowflake, it has a intelligence for suppose if there is any data sudden spike in the data, and the Snowflake itself, it will bring up the additional CPU power and it will process the data within the timeline. You don't need to worry about like what if the suddenly data became more, and if that particular job is scheduled only 15 minutes. If you take a same case where I have discussed it, right? So the same case within the 15 minutes, if you want to process the 2 GB data, of course, by using the Snowflake, without your interference, the Snowflake itself, it will process the data by using this virtual warehouse concepts. And also we'll discuss about more this virtual warehouse in later point in time. Now unlimited storage of the data. So there is no limitation with the storage because it is a cloud. So you can use any cloud platform. As of now, as I mentioned, the Snowflake will be supporting top 3 cloud platforms: Azure, Microsoft Azure, AWS, and Google. So you can use any storage service from this one of the cloud platform, and you can store your data based on your requirement. So these are very I would say these are few features, okay, not all the features. In fact, other than this, there are core features are there which are not available in any data warehouse. So those are only available in the Snowflake. Those core features is makes Snowflake is a ideal option for the business. Is it clear? Anybody has any queries?
No.
Okay. So as I mentioned, it was founded in 2012 by 3 data warehouse experts, Benoit, Thierry, and Jankowski. So basically, this Benoit and Thierry, Benoit was working as a architect in Oracle. So the Oracle Corporation was rejected his proposal about this data warehouse. Then he came out and he started building the Snowflake from scratch onwards, because he is a data architect and he know, like he worked so much time in the Oracle space. So that's where he built this particular product with the compatible with the Oracle SQL, because many developers or many organizations are familiar with this traditional databases. So if this particular product is compatible with this, it will be easy for them, right? So for example, if your organization using Oracle 11G or 12C, whatever it may be, or MySQL and all, now your organization is started to migrating from this. They plan to migrate from on-prem to cloud. Okay, so now if they're choosing some other particular data warehouse, and if that particular data warehouse is not compatible with SQL and all, then the people who are working in that migration, they have to upgrade themselves with the compatible with their particular data warehouse, whatever they're using. And so there are so many challenges are there, right? People need to upgrade themselves, and they're not much comfortable with that. But if you're choosing a Snowflake, so whatever the queries you are using in on-prem, the same queries you are going to use in a Snowflake, right? It will be easy, and it makes the developer's life is more easy. That's where the Snowflake is again kind of a, people are looking up alternative data warehouse as a cloud data warehouse as a Snowflake. So now coming to how different Snowflake compared to traditional data warehouse. So now if you take a traditional Oracle data warehouse, as I mentioned, so that particular data warehouse, it will support for structured data and some portion it will support for semi-structured data, not more than that. But where if you are coming to Snowflake, the Snowflake is a single platform for all kind of workloads. So there is no restriction, there is no limitation in the Snowflake. So if you are want to do analytics, okay, you can bring the structured data into the Snowflake and you can do your analytics. But if you want to bring some semi-structured data, and if you want to do analytics, of course, the Snowflake will support that functionality as well. If you want to bring some unstructured data, of course, the Snowflake will support for that. So there are different kind of use cases will be there, right? Some people will work as a data scientists and they will run their algorithms and all, and they will mostly they will do the predictive analysis, which means how the future is going to be. And some organizations, they will do how the business is going on from last quarter or from last 1 year, which means they're doing current state of analysis. Few people, they will do future state of analysis. Few people, they'll do kind of a in next 1 hour how it's going to be, or kind of as I mentioned earlier, right? So some auto suggestions if you want to send, some auto suggestions products you want to showcase them on through online and all. So almost kind of a real-time analysis and all, they some people will do. So earlier, if based on these use cases, different skill set, different stack people are using. But where the Snowflake, it has a capability, it will support all kind of workloads. So whatever you want, you can bring the data into Snowflake. So the required specifications, the required tools and techniques, the Snowflake is providing. So you can use that and you can bring the data into the Snowflake area and you can do whatever you want. But if you go to that other data warehouses, this is not the case, because in other data warehouses, so it is recommended for particular use case or particular kind of a workload. And if you, in order to utilize that particular data warehouse for other workloads, you have to do some customizations things. There are certain limitations available, some certain limitations are there for those data warehouses, but where in the Snowflake, so there is no such kind of limitations. So you can utilize the Snowflake as a single platform for your all kind of workloads. Apart from that, the Snowflake, another beauty of the Snowflake is they're providing this kind of a secure governance, which means when you are handling with any sensitive information, so ideally you are not supposed to expose that particular data with third party people. So but if you are compared to traditional data warehouses, under the Snowflake is a very strong governance. So they're coming with very typical security features. We'll see what are those exactly, how these people are restricting, what are the features they're providing Snowflake to handle the sensitive data in upcoming sessions. So coming to the Snowflake, so I have categorized the Snowflake space into 8 major portions. So introduction to Snowflake, and basically we'll cover about that basic introduction and overview about the Snowflake, and what are the features are coming, and what are the core features are there. Little bit deep level we'll see, and how the Snowflake ecosystem it looks like. Then we'll see how to connect the Snowflake. So as I mentioned, like Snowflake, there will be providing a web URL. So like we will see how to create the trial account, how to log into the Snowflake, how the web UI looks like, how the queries will be running, how we can execute our queries and all. We'll be seeing that as part of this Snowflake, how to connect the Snowflake, and managing the Snowflake account next portion. So here, just now I have spoken, right? Like security and a kind of handling the sensitive data, that will be covering as part of this managing Snowflake and then using the Snowflake. So I just a kind of a categories at a high level in the Snowflake syllabus, I mean to say. So what are the core components of the Snowflake architecture? How these core components will be helpful for our business when, as a developer or as a data engineer, when you are implementing something, how you are going to utilize these particular core components. We'll be discussing very detailed level about these components. And coming to the Snowflake objects, so what kind of objects Snowflake will support, and we'll see kind of a detailed level sessions with these Snowflake objects. And another major important thing is loading unloading data into Snowflake, because I have given a little bit explanation, right, about a data warehouse. So the Snowflake also data warehouse, right? How you are going to bring the data from multiple sources into Snowflake, and how you are extracting the data from the Snowflake to other storage services, we'll see. And also the Snowflake core features. So I have given list of features. So these features are not available in any data warehouse other than the Snowflake. Cloning, sharing, time traveling, task streams, and we'll see detailed level discussion about this. And also the performance consideration. These are kind of advanced topics. So the people whoever is working in a kind of a data architect space and all. So we have a good knowledge about how to utilize the Snowflake resources in a best way and what are the services of the Snowflake are there. So we'll see how we can accelerate the Snowflake performance by using these components, how the Snowflake will work, or basically these all components are available in the Snowflake. The only thing is we want to understand or we want to know how we can utilize this effectively. So I'll be covering this entire Snowflake syllabus as part of our training program. So I'll be taking a pause here. Anybody has any queries?
No.
Good. Yep. Please go ahead.
What exactly you are doing in Snowflake?
So the Snowflake, we are using as a data warehouse, and by using the Snowflake, we are bringing the data from multiple source systems into Snowflake data warehouse, and we are analyzing the data, and from that end output, we are providing value to the business. So for example, if you are taking a small example, earlier example, so you are going to establish one business, electrical goods, just assume. So now you cannot establish the branches in at a time 10 or 20 branches, right? So ultimately you want to do kind of a pilot project. You will choose in a particular place and you will start your business in that particular area, and you will see how the business is going on. Then you will start another branch in some area. Okay, like that you just chosen 4 branches to establish your business. Okay, so now 6 months is completed. Now you want to see how the business is doing. So you are a kind of a end user in the sense you are the owner of that. You don't know, like you are not going to that particular branch and you are not sitting and you are not selling the products, right? You have hired the people who do these jobs. So who people will sold these items, they'll register this, they'll just store this all data into the system. Okay, now as a end user, you don't want to go to the particular branch and you don't want to see, right? You want to get the from last 6 months how the business is doing. So all the electric goods, like how many, for example, take how many TVs got sold out, how many fridges got sold out, and what is the investment you put and what is the revenue you got it from that. That is what your interest, right? So if you are in a profit state and your business is doing good, then definitely you will go further and you will establish your branches in multiple places. So where we are doing this all analysis, that's where coming to the Snowflake. So you will be bringing this all data into this particular Snowflake data warehouse, and by using the Snowflake features, you will be storing the data, you will be organizing the data in more organized way in the particular data warehouse, so that the business people will see this data and will analyze this data, and they will come up with some chart or some stats. So by analyzing this data, they'll come to you, hey, last this quarter, so this much investment we put on this particular product, and we got this much amount of profit. But if there is a particular product is not doing good job, then we can stop to produce that product, and there we'll see what is the alternative ways to increase the sale. That's how the business people will work, right? That is the market strategy, right? So if you take any business, not only this particular electric goods, if you take any business, so all the people end of the day, what they will do, they will analyze how their business is going on, and based on that they will take right decisions with respect to their products, so that they can target the correct audience, they can get the properties. So now coming to the Snowflake, so where you are bringing this data from multiple sources and you are going to put it in a central repository, right? That's where the Snowflake is coming to picture. So earlier people are using traditional data warehouses, but there are a lot of challenges or a lot of problems are there with the traditional data warehouses. That's where the people are migrating to cloud. So that's where the people are choosing in Snowflake. So now you have an organization. So this particular organization, they have one data warehouse, traditional data warehouse, either Oracle or Hadoop, whatever it may be. Okay. So since they're facing a lot of problems, as we discussed earlier, so they started migrating from this on-prem to Snowflake. So they're going to use the Snowflake as their cloud data warehouse with less maintenance and less cost.
Okay. Getting data from source systems and store into data warehouse and generating reports. That's all we're doing.
Yeah, you can do you can generate reports, or you can build a dashboards, or you can build up charts and all, graphs and all, whatever you want. For example, if the data scientist team is there, so what they will do, so based on this last 1 year data, they'll predict this data coming 2 months, how the sales is going to be, how the customer trend is going to be. So for example, if you look at like weather announcements and all, right, they will see coming 24 hours, they will just give up alerts, right, intimation. So coming 24 hours, these are the areas going to be rain, heavy rain, or these are area going to be light rain and all, how they're giving based on historical data, right? So similarly, if you take any business or any products, how the customer trend is going on. So last two Jan first season, so this is how the customer trend was there. So coming this Jan also, it is going to be like this. So based on that, you can plan accordingly based on your convenience. So that's how the business will work. Now the Snowflake is coming to picture in that particular place.
For connecting the source systems, if there are any particular connectors are there, we have to.
So now here there are so many ways are there connecting to the source systems. So for example, if you take one way is like you can use some ETL tool, either Informatica and all, you can Talent and all, you can extract the, you can connect the source system and you can extract the data, and you can bring into the data into the Snowflake area, and you can organize the data more meaningful format so that the business easily can understand the data, and they can get the insights from the data by using their dashboards or reporting tools. Or for example, if you take a Power BI, they can build a dashboard, right? So last year it was the trend, the graph is going up and down, last 1 month it was the trend like this. So based on that, the end final management, they can take a decision. And another way is like, if these source people are also is migrating into cloud, so they're going to send this particular feed file into the AWS S3 or particular Azure Blob or Google bucket. So from there, you are going to establish the connection from Snowflake, and you are going to read the data from AWS S3, and you are going to process the data, and you are going to give the insights to the business. So there are different ways there. So mostly we'll see in a cloud space, because everybody is migrating in cloud, right? So as part of this training program, we are going to see any one cloud platform we can take, and we can see how we can establish the connection between Snowflake and AWS S3, how we can bring the data into Snowflake, and how we can organize the data into Snowflake by using a Snowflake core components. Yes, yes. So throughout the session, each and every day we have a hands-on session. So I'll be giving that hands-on session demo on live, so that I'll share that whatever is necessary things, so people can do hands-on exercise along with me. So the Snowflake web UI, I can show you if you want now. Let me see, because let me see if I have already created the Snowflake trial account or not, or else tomorrow I can show you. So let me finish this, then we'll go with the question and answer session. So with this session, we'll be briefly going to cover this. So we are going to get a good understanding knowledge about data warehouse, and also we are going to get complete knowledge about Snowflake. And you are also going to get knowledge about tools and techniques, whatever we are using in a real-time projects, how we are implementing this end-to-end projects. So you are getting knowledge about those tools and techniques, and you'll get a tips if you are looking for any tips in interview space and all. Also, if you are preparing for any Snowflow certification and all, I can provide some mock questions and all, and I can give some resource material as well for that post this session. So that's all with this demo for today. So I didn't go very deep level in Snowflake and data warehouse. So in upcoming sessions, we are going to see detail level about data warehouse and Snowflake, and I'm going to showcase that at Snowflake Web UI, how it looks like. And I'm going to, as I mentioned, each and every session, wherever is demo session is needed practically. So I'll be going to provide that sessions, hands-on session. So you people also can, along with me, you can do that hands-on exercise as well.